Okay, welcome to the fourth community call for building the grid. And we have representation here from Iceland, from England, from America, from Ireland, and from England. And we hope that these calls are going to grow in size. And we're very, very grateful for everybody's here. So I guess that's the first thing is to just start off by saying, thanks for your time last week. It was a fantastic conversation. Lots of really great ideas came out of it. We've put a lot of the ideas into the product roadmap, which is just fantastic because the grid is now going to be directed and shaped by everybody included in these calls. So if you're not already in the Telegram group, join the group. You can find the link somewhere. I think it's on the Instagram page. If you're not on Instagram, then you can just basically send an email to anybody in this group and they will share with you the Telegram information. So thanks for being part of the shaping of the grid. So since last week, Arthur got back from vacation. We're fixing a couple of small little bugs and issues just regarding the connection count and the ability to bring groups to the grid. So the idea is that instead of it just being one person amplifying the energy, if you can bring like a group of 5 or 10 people, it's going to significantly enhance the grid experience for everybody. We are now hoping to push that feature out tomorrow, maximum on Friday, so that when you join the grid, you'll be asked how many people are you, and as your number grows in size, you'll see your dot on the map will actually grow in size as well. It's actually very, very cool to see. So I can't wait for you to all see it. Um, what is very, very cool is that on the 8th of July, so 21 days ago, we had 2,000 connected hearts on the grid. And as of today, we have over 2,700 hearts. So nearly 700 extra people have joined since the start of the month, which is just fantastic. And I know our goal is to get that to a really, really, really big number. But for now, it seems to be evolving at the exact right pace so that we can actually fix all of the little issues. And then a conversation we had yesterday with Thor, who's here on the call, basically came out, to basically make the point that don't fill up a leaky bucket. So, before we go out and pursue the 20, 30 million people who we can support in the grid, make sure that the actual flow of it makes complete sense so that when a person comes into the grid on the first day, they will want to use it on day 10, on day 20, on day 30. And that kind of brings us back to a conversation that we've had a few times, about actually bringing in extra or bringing in different voices to the grid so that we are basically now in the process of having more music in the grid to work with musicians and sound engineers to actually bring a better soundscape to the grid experience. But then we have been working a lot on the idea of, when the grid goes live, it can be one of 100 voices, one of 1,000 voices, bringing the person from their head down into their heart. And the idea is that by the 31st of August, at the end of next month, we will launch the 30 days, 30 voices, one heart of the grid. And we are now actively asking for meditators and people who have something to share with the grid to basically come on, record a meditation that is designed to bring a person from their mind-based thinking down into their heart, and then to actually help them to contribute that into the overall kind of grid of love. So in the past 24 hours, I've already got one meditation in from Abby Wynn, which is a really good friend of the grids over in Ireland. And she's done a really good job of just actually, step by step, going from your mind into your heart and then amplifying it out into the field. Thor is going to talk about his experience with that shortly. But I guess the overall thing is I'd love for anybody listening to this to, to be inspired to go, well, perhaps maybe I could add something to that. So when the clock counts down to nil and it starts the live broadcast, that could be you. So if you have anything that you'd like to share that you think that people will be interested in, we'd be very happy to receive it. So at this point, I'll just let anybody jump in and just so we can take a nice flow of conversation.
Hi everyone. I just jumping in.
Welcome.
I'm I'm still in Texas, but
Ooh.
I'm flying soon to France, so I'm excited to travel back to France for a little bit. Um, I have been really actively, you know, on the app. As soon as I get the notification, I'm just jumping in. Um, it does feel really warm when I see that there's more people there. I'm trying to share with you guys my own experience of the app like this. Uh, um, so I really appreciated all the notifications, because life is crazy and everything. So it's kind of like pulling me in. And also, it happened to come at times where I was stressed out. And then so it was just lovely to have those minutes to come back in the heart and the faith and the trust and everything. So thank you. I think it's fantastic to see the dots and to kind of like have the sense visually of the presence, even though we feel it, without visuals. But it was lovely to kind of see the dots, even if it's 20 people, 2,000, like, you're not alone type thing. So thank you. And also, yes, I would love to uh, maybe write something and read it, so my question is very practical, like, can I do it on my phone or can I propose something and send it through a voice note?
Yeah, I think so. We actually do have. Thank you for that. I guess like the audio length should be, let's say, 5 to 10 minutes. You could record it on your phone, but I suppose it needs to be a good microphone to actually allow us to have the best quality kind of raw material to work with. But like the preferred format would be a WAV file or an MP3. But. Um, I'm not sure. Would an iPhone audio recording be sufficient? Thor would be the resident sound engineer, or Jeffrey as well, Jeff and Thor. So we have literally a room full of sound engineers here who can give you advice on that. So nobody. Okay, so we don't know actually, but I'd say maybe an iPhone be enough. Thor.
Yeah, I think it's okay if you are in a space where you don't have a lot of background noise. And I don't have an iPhone still. I used to, but now I use a Samsung, and I think there's a built-in audio filter where you can simply it's called Audio Eraser on Android. I don't know what it's called on iPhone, but you can reduce noise. um, I I don't have an audio setup where I am, but I don't know about Jeffrey. Hi, nice to meet you, Jeffrey.
Hi.
I've heard so much about you from Stephen, but this is something that's easy enough to do on a computer in audio software. But I think this is something we need to kind of get a guideline down. Um, Clear guidelines. And I think there needs to be also a clear accountability of who does the audio mastering of the recordings once we have enough of them, you know. But if you stay in a quiet space and you speak in a clear way, then any additional noise should be able to filter out. We should be able to adjust the levels of your voice. Obviously, the better the recording is, the easier it is for whomever has to do the work. But perfect is the enemy of good, and also is the enemy of done. So don't worry too much about it, I would say.
Okay. I
So,
can have access to a microphone and I will figure it out and send it and see if the quality is good. Yeah. Thank you.
so what you can do on on the Mac, it's voice memos on your iPhone, and so you just start and stop. The problem is trying to edit. So it doesn't give
Okay.
you a lot of options, but you could take it then if you have a Mac computer, you could take it into those audio apps, even Audacity or something like that, and you can clip the
Uh,
fronts and the backs or check it for how much noise you have. But if you
okay.
listen back on your phone, you should be able to hear the quality. And like Thor was saying, it's important that you're in a quieter space. Um,
That's
Yeah.
the file I received today. Yeah, so
yeah,
that's
so that's a freebie, so that's an easy one to use, basically, if you follow the directions.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'll do
Mhm.
tests.
But I
Thank you.
guess we would be absolutely delighted to have your recording on the grid as well. Be fantastic because the idea is that we'll start off at, let's say, 30 voices for 30 days for version one, and then version two is to allow the user to actually browse through the catalog of meditators and to actually pick the best one that suits them. And then also to be able to change the background music as well to something that will actually better kind of sit with them so that it's not just like one solution for everybody.
Sounds really good.
Cool. So, Tor, do you want to just step in and explain, just to even give a little bit of an idea for people, like what you're working on at the moment?
Yeah. Yes. Um, okay. Well, nice. First of all, nice to meet all of you. Um, I, my name is Thor. I'm from Iceland. Me and Stephen have become fast friends in the last few months, and been very inspired by what he's been doing with the grid and some of his other projects. I had to make some changes in my life 10 years ago. I started meditating, sh showing up for other people a lot, did a lot of different kind of ceremonies, stuff like that. I have been meditating since I was a teenager, but I think I started teaching meditation, guiding meditation about 10 years ago. When Stephen introduced the grid to me, I guess a couple of months ago, me and some friends, we experienced it together and we absolutely loved it. But the problem was with the user retention, that coming in every 12 hours and having the same experience with the same voice, even if there are different lights on the globe, it the recording it the aspect of it being a recording really, 3 days later, I think most people feel, I've had this experience. I know exactly what it's going to be like. And because there are so many things competing for our attention and our time, the kind of user experience designer in me was yelling, there needs to be a new reason to come in every day. There needs to be a unique experience every day, and it needs to feel more alive. And I think that will be a very strong driver for user retention and for users coming back and back again and again and again. That's not saying that having a library of meditations that people can come in and relive and redo and share with their friends and family and loved ones isn't an amazing feature. But so me and Stephen have been discussing this, and I have in the last weeks been realizing that a big part of my spiritual and mental strength 10 years ago was that I was always showing up for other people. I would show up to teach meditation. I would show up to meetings with people. And then when I felt really healthy and really good, I didn't need it anymore. And slowly and surely I stopped doing it. And then slowly and surely my mental health and my spiritual health started to decline slowly. And so now I'm working on getting myself back in the groove of these things, to be live in harmony with myself and show up for myself by showing up for others. And I've been working on this social media presence I call Cascade of Radiance, which is basically me encouraging people to show up for themselves by showing up for others. And so Stephen has offered me an opportunity to make a meditation for the grid, which I'm very thankful for, and I'll probably be recording tonight.
Well, I actually had a quick listen to it today, or just a rough draft of it. It's fantastic. It's actually really cool just to hear different viewpoints to get to the same place. It's just fantastic. So thank you. Yes, Gail, I'm hoping you're going to give us one as well. That'd be amazing. You're on mute. Gail Thomas, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, everyone. Nice to be here. I'm happy to write. I'm happy to write a meditation. I don't think my voice is the best, but I'll have a go.
I like the voice.
Yeah, me too, Gail.
I think it's
You got a
great.
great voice.
I thought that's what you were cheering for at the beginning. It's funny you start off that way. It's like, oh yeah, Gail's voice would be awesome.
Thanks, TJ. What I wanted to just touch in on, Tor, thank you very much. You just took my mind on a journey there. And yeah, I totally agree with getting bored with the same recording, and it needs quite a lot of variety, and I think it's going to need constant input. And my reference to getting bored in something like that is having the Wim Hof app, which I downloaded a few years ago. And I noticed that what he did is he offered a number of different breathing patterns, and then he offered it with no music, with his guitar. I think he offered it, like he does that kind of a cappella singing, like he just goes off on one and he just
No, I've never heard
sings.
that.
Oh, right, okay.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I think, so my mind started thinking not just about different tracks of music, say like electronic music or, acoustic music, but maybe some frequency music, sometimes just drums, sometimes just singing. Then I started thinking about even just not just having the guide of the practice to move from your head to your heart in words visually on the screen, but then maybe some omming in the background or some other chant. So you got then a whole kind of suite of different chants or mantras, but you can keep it really simple with an om. And then I thought, how nice would it be to have a group of people omming together as the backing track, or as another option, because let's face it, you're going to need loads and loads of options, having like a group of people reciting the guidance for the meditation, so you feel the resonance of the group. So you have a range of different tracks, a range of different sounds, a range of different frequencies, a range of different mantras, and there's lots of variety in that that's kind of endless. And then you have your individual, I'm not talking about necessarily for the 1st of August or whenever you said the end of August,
Yeah.
but then you have a range of individual perspectives of the guide, the meditation guide, and then you can have some group guidance. I think that's really nice for like that kind of morphic or that kind of heart feeling. If you hear, you'd have to kind of be together. You'd have to be together in the same place. So if, I could get maybe 2 or 3 people together or 5 people together, and we've got a very simple script to lead you through that lasts, for example, 5 minutes, and we say it word for word in tandem at the same time. I know, does that sound a bit far out? But I'm actually thinking if you could make that work in small groups, that's kind of nice too.
Very good. Which
That's what I'm thinking.
supports the grid groups, which is basically going out on Friday. So you can actually say we've got 10 people here, and like that's the first version of it.
Or even just like a male and a female voice. So imagine I'm with you, Stephen, and we agree on the script and we say it together line by line.
Yeah.
That might have a nice resonance to it, the male female aspect.
Yeah, that's beautiful again. I think that's lovely.
Or
Yeah.
even, oh no, is that ethical? Even a child. You get maybe my daughter to do it, a teen. But just a range of different voices, a range of different kind of heart energy from different stages in life, groups, combinations, a group of women, a group of men.
Yeah.
There's
Right.
loads to play around with, I think.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, sorry, go on, Maria.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I think it's beautiful. And it's kind of a live thing. Is it live? You were thinking live or
No,
Gail, were you
yeah,
no.
no, pre-recorded, but I mean, recorded with the group.
It'd be
I
very
don't think
hard
we
to
can
do
do
that
it
live.
live.
Yeah, with all of the different connection types. I think Jeff might have a solution for us though.
Well, for many years, was a part of this, but we have a group called the Joy Toners, and we would get together and chant. And we started out with 12 audio CDs for medical work. And then we used Dr. Emoto's stuff back in 2005, probably somewhere like that. And I met him, TJ was with me, and I showed him what we were doing with water. And so we were toning into water, and our group would range anywhere from maybe 10 or 12 people to 40 people in a night. And we would have, I set it up so as a drum, I'd have a pulse and a pitch to tone to. And then we would have a list of words, everything from love, peace, harmony, that kind of thing. And then for the medical stuff, we were actually toning to your organs and different stuff like that. And so my idea of, well, I was going to contact TJ and maybe get some of the joy toners together to actually follow for a meditation that I've been kind of working on, but I was trying to get it all laid out. And then I was real interested in finding out the actual timing for the breath work so I could set the pulse so when we lead people into it, that we'd all be in coherence together as we lead the chant. And so we would be doing some vocal, you're actively participating versus being a passive listener. And that's the whole idea of all my teaching of what I've done with the joy toners.
Do we have BIM still?
We sure do. You want to see him? He's sitting right
Yeah,
here.
yeah. Show him. You should show him BIM. Bring up BIM.
Yeah, Bim sleeping.
Can Bim do
It's a
a meditation?
it's a microphone that's
Oh,
geared.
the head
It's
microphone.
based off of the human ear, the geometry of, you know, that we have in our heads to gather sound. That's how the microphone's designed.
Wow.
Yeah, and he's got these
That's
ear food CDs that you can play. We used them when I did Supercharge to grow food. I was integrating that into our food growing technology with the water and everything. It's really great work. There he is. But what I wanted to say on from like Niels and Patrick, that breath pulse of like the 8.5, 8.7 or whatever. I know I missed when Niels was on or whatever. Is that?
Yeah,
I know
Neil
we've had that
came on
discussion
last
in the
week to
pulse.
have a wonderful call with us. He explained to us the mare breathing, which is the 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out, and then he was proposing that we give the users an option to do a more advanced breathing technique as well. It was just
Yeah.
fantastic. Like
Well, I know we started with the 5. Is that where it's at now again too? Because I know on my
it's at just around 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out at the moment, yeah.
yeah,
But
okay.
but we do. You see, our big issue right now is there's so many cool things that we can add, and
Yeah.
I guess like right now there's like three big things on the horizon. We're going to bring the groups in now, by Friday. The following week, we'll have the option for the user to change the homepage soundtrack. So when you see the countdown, you can change the music to something that you like more. Right now, it's Jeff's Soul Traveler, but we have like 3 or 4 other pieces from other artists who we want to put in to make available. And then after that release, we have to decide on 3 routes, one of 3 routes. Number one is the 30 days, 30 voices, just actually bringing in that functionality, because there is quite a lot of technical work to do to actually, make that available to the user, so that when they select, Jeff's or Thor's or Gail's, which Gail, I think you have a fantastic voice, and I can't wait to hear it in a live broadcast. But that's quite a technical job. Then we also have the mini grids, being able to create your own grid for your own needs. So Gail wants to create a grid of healing for her mother-in-law, and she wants to invite 20 people in, being able to facilitate that. And then also we have the extra heart amplification center as well, because right now you go into the heart amplification center at the end of the broadcast, and we have several hundred people have literally logged acts of love and feelings of gratitude and memories of love. It's all completely anonymous, but it's completely beautiful to see, which we haven't actually made those things available yet, but we will do as a ticker tape across the front of the homepage soundtrack. But then we're now thinking about another feature of spreading the love. So you have the heart amplification center as a way to internalize that energy into your heart, and then give you the option of actually spreading it out then through a spreading of the love, so that when you're using the grid, you'll see all of the messages of love being spread around the world. But now the question is, which one do we do first? Do we do the 30 days? Do we do the mini grids, or do we do the heart amplification expansion? What do you guys think, just from a resource allocation perspective?
I think it's
Just
too
throwing
early.
Go on.
I think it's too early for mini grids.
Okay.
You need to get more people into it first. And the 30 days might show people how real it is and how they can get involved. It might
Yeah.
pique the
I
interest.
think keep it simple to begin with. Like, let's take an easy route and let it grow, not to push too fast, too hard.
So stick with the 30 days, 30 voices for the end of August. That's it.
Yeah, because that's a lot to get together, and you still have to balance all that audio to, so it's broadcast ready for everybody too. So
You have to, Jeff. I'm joking.
okay, well, you better start sending it then, because if you lump it all on the 30th and want it by the 31st, we might have a problem.
Okay. All right. So it's the 30
Yeah.
days. And in fact, actually, Gail, I spoke about the mini grid a couple of weeks ago, and I said that it came out of a conversation up in the mountains, but it was actually with you and Serge and Niels while we were having pizza. That's where the mini grid came from. So it's actually wonderful seeing all of these things manifesting into reality, It's wonderful.
Yeah, and I think they can work really well in hospitals and then schools and
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So how are we sitting on putting it on the computer for the hospitals and in the nursing homes and stuff?
Okay,
Is that
so
gonna
to go a little bit technical for a second, right now the globe that you're looking at is a live globe, but we are a little bit restrained with Apple and Google, so that when we make something for Android, we want to work on both Apple at the same time. So we're using a framework called Flutter. And within that Flutter framework, we're using the Flutter Globe, which is basically a really cool system where we can actually display all the dots on the map, and it looks fantastic. But the only problem with that is that it is restricted to actually stay within the Android and the Apple ecosystem. So in order for us to actually make it available so you can put it on a big screen in a hospital or in a nursing home or in a care home, we'll have to make it web-based. So we are now looking at another system to replace the current globe, which will basically make it not only very, very portable, very adaptable to different sizes, to different resolutions, but we'll also have a lot more control over the globe as well, in that right now you can zoom in a little bit, and you can, let's say, zoom in a little bit over North America. But with this new globe, you'll be able to zoom in over a town. You'll be able to actually, see a huge amount more detail of the globe, as well as actually being able to actually facilitate like waves of love around the earth. And, when we have 10,000 people, you'll see the wave and things like that. So that's another technical thing, which is why, in fact, actually, I was going to ask at the end, but at this point, if there are any software developers, anybody who could add, kind of firepower to the software development, we would be delighted to work with you. We are very open. It is our plan to go open source. So like, it's not like we're trying to protect anything, because we want everybody to have access to everything behind the scenes. But if there is anybody, or if you know anybody who is a good software developer, we'd be delighted to work with them, because the biggest problem right now that we're having, and I'm being completely honest, is just actually resources. And it is time in the day, and there is only 27 hours in one day, and we're trying to squeeze 29 hours out of a day. But there's only, let's say, 35 hours in one day, and then after that, we have to sleep. So if you know anybody who's a designer, who's a developer or a tester, we'd be delighted to talk to them, and for them to actually be part of the development. But Jeff, once we bring in that new globe, it's going to open everything up. And, so yes, it is on the product development plan, but we just have to be really, basically one day at a time.
Yeah,
I want to be on your
actually,
day schedule.
You are?
I just want
I was
to
gonna
add
say-
something quick. I don't know if it's spoken of. I know someone else is jumping, but so after doing Patrick's thing and seeing like the feedback where there's like a score or whatever, uh, it seems like something nice might be to have like some kind of like goal, like in a coffee shop you get a punch card or something like that, but just kind of some incentive to keep people onto the app, whether it's getting stars or if it's your own little, maybe I could even make a geometry or something, but you get it colored in each time that you do a meditation that you want a full thing or it unlocks something, or that's just an idea that's come up in order to get people on there, which I've found on some of these other things. Even if it's like meaningless, it's just nice to get that gold star or whatever the little prize is or something. You know what I mean? It gives people incentive to follow through, as you've mentioned before. It's like something new. How do you keep people interested on the app? So
That's a
if that
great-
makes sense.
That's a really good idea, TJ. When I first took Chilel Qigong back in the 90s, that's what we had after I think 90 days of doing you get a little heart that you write your sheet on, and after 90 days you reply, and then they send you a little badge, where you got looks like a lapel pin or something. It said, "Hey, you got your first gong." So, and after three
Yeah,
of those,
badges or something would be cool.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll put that on Steven. Like anybody that hits 90 days, you got to send them a little
Yeah,
trinket.
In fact, actually, in fact, actually, and again, it comes back to resources available to us, but there is a whole section of development which has been planned out to actually, allow you to keep track of your usage of the grid while also maintaining your absolute anonymity, so that we are going to maybe introduce a way to actually go, oh, here's device XYZ again, even though we don't know it's you, TJ, but we just know it's device XYZ. And then with that, we will be able to actually to basically keep a score of your usage. And then at the end of each broadcast, a simple emoji. How do you feel? At the end of each one, like five or six different options, which is a way for the person to actually keep track of their usage, and how they felt while they are using
Yeah.
it, and then to be able to display it in a nice simple graph. But then also, I suppose, probably one of the biggest things that we can't do yet, because we don't have the numbers, but we have it really well planned, is to actually, you know, like let's just say when they did the transcendental meditation in Washington, D.C., they were able to observe a drop in crime rate while it was happening, and then they were able to repeat it and reproduce it. What we want to do is actually start to be able to keep track of statistics like that in local areas, on a town, on a country, on a regional level, to actually enable people to see the effect that the grid is having on the world around them. So yes, we are going to build in a way for you to keep track of your usage, and we will 100% give you a gold star at the end of each month to say that you've done 30 days. But then to be able to show you the feedback of the grid while it's working. But we just don't have the numbers yet for that, you know?
So back to that Maharishi thing, there was a script that was for that, and the intention was to bring the crime rate down.
Yes.
And I wonder if Anthony couldn't, because he works at that university, whether they have that saved somehow in the archives where we could see that, because that could be something down the road that we could develop a focused intention where we see crime or something negative happening, where we could send peace and love and harmony to a specific area or to a group or some kind of thing like that, or do sideline stuff. So
Absolutely. And I'm not going to say his full name, but we do have a really great contact over in the US who has been one of the biggest supporters of the grid since the very first day, Anthony. And he's attached to the university that was founded by Maharashi. Is that it? Was it actually
yeah.
founded by him? And what they do is they study meditation, they study consciousness, they study the effects of meditation. And he has always been a huge fan of this because he obviously is aware of all of the previous successes with this work. But it'd be wonderful to bring him into the conversation now, you know, and actually see if we can gain access to the resources that he would have. So hopefully Anthony will be on one of our future calls, Jeff. It'd be amazing.
Yeah, I haven't heard from him in a while. Maybe I can give him a buzz, or I'll
Yeah,
text
yeah,
him.
please do. Yeah, he just basically sent me a message a few days ago saying he is involved in a lot of stuff and he'll come back. But if Jeff Cozy calls him, maybe he'll answer the call.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
He did send a message kind of reiterating that he's silently watching, that he's
Yes,
seeing everything that's happening. So
yeah. And
whether that
he,
means on the computer or in his like inner eyeball, I don't know. He didn't
who
say,
knows?
but one or the
Hopefully he's
other. He's
paying
watching
attention.
us either inside or outside.
But in fact, actually, most people are very interested to hear about the grid charter, which I'm going to share in the Telegram group because the grid charter is essentially the set of rules that we will essentially all abide by for the grid. You know what I mean? Just basically keeping it all about the heart, keeping it about inclusivity, keeping it free, keeping it, you know, all of the things that you'd expect to see in a charter, like something like for the grid. So I'm going to share that in the Telegram group after this call, and I'd love to get your feedback and your opinions on it. Because I think to actually bring in the big guns like these universities, we have to show them that, you know, this is a very, very simple, pure system that is not going to deviate from this core charter. And if we all agree on the charter, then we can all basically hold each other accountable to it.
Oh,
Go for it,
go
Maria.
ahead.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask a very specific question about the resources. Um, I actually, I am in Austin, Texas. There's a lot of developers here. I used to work in tech, so I just want to know if you could send through the thread what specific skills would be useful. You know what I mean? So I can be specific if I request some of the people I know here who have agencies, companies, and stuff to just find people who are willing, you know?
Absolutely. In fact, actually, that's a great idea. Thank you. In fact, actually, it's been a few people have said, Stephen, just actually write down what you need, and then people will know what to help with, as opposed to it just being a sound. Okay, cool.
Yes.
Yeah. So is there anything else on that? Yeah, Gail.
Not on the developing stuff, but back on the gift thing, the emoji or the gold star. It might be a bit too soon to implement it, but not too soon to start collecting like a voluntary gift library. So TJ was talking about doing some art, or did you not say that, or did I just? You said about creating something, didn't you?
Yeah, I was just for me, what I would like and what I could offer was like a geometry, some kind of geometry glyph or
Right.
something like that.
I think that would be really
Rather than
nice.
it just being a gold star, like I can't stop at your basic star, you know.
Star.
But yeah, whatever. Yeah, like a. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
So yeah, no, I mean a voluntary gift library, meaning people contribute. I mean, it has to be, I guess, digital, right? So visual or sound, and you could actually, for your first 100, what do you call it? Check-ins, tune-ins,
Yeah.
anyway, connections. You can receive the sound of a gong,
Yeah.
okay, and with the little notification, like boing, this is your
That
100, da da da.
that would be cool. It unleashes like a gong song when you turn
Yeah,
the
and
app
you
on or
have
something would be really
access.
cool.
Yeah, and then you have access to the voluntary gift portal, right? And obviously you got to start collecting, you know, to form your library now. But it would be arranged. I mean, that could be a drawing from anyone at any age, or a geometric thing, or a visual created in some way, or a sound, or a song, or something. I guess, a poem. I guess that's
Yeah.
for everyone to choose and decide. But I mean, the beauty is in the variety, and it again, it's that giving and receiving thing, which is the heart thing, that people have joy creating whatever it is, knowing that it's going to go into that archive and is part of a reward. And then there's a joy in receiving it, knowing that an individual created it, so you've really got that feels going,
Beautiful.
give
Yeah.
and receiving value. But you can start collating that, I mean, and they don't have to be like masterpieces. Do you know what I mean? Just
Once
you
it
Yeah.
have to
once
give
it
some
is made
guidance
with
in that so
love.
people don't stress out about it to be
Yeah.
I,
perfect
I,
again.
I do like the physical badge idea that like Jeff was saying with that and
Sent in
actually
the
shipping.
post.
Yeah, like a pin or something. I mean, that's something that could be, it's like you said, it's not ready yet, but down the line, if people do like 100 sessions or something, we send them a pin or whatever it is. That's also free advertising that you see that, but I think that brings that physical thing that's like embedded into it. If we want to take it farther, you're doing your heart coherence. After you're 90, you have achieved a certain thing. We embed that energy into your pin. If you start wearing that around, that's going to be everywhere. It's just another physical way of spreading what we're already doing. I really like that
Oh
pin
my
idea.
God. Yeah, so a pin onto you, or a pin that you can put into your soil, even.
Yeah,
Into like a
right, or
planting,
whatever.
like
I was more
covering
thinking
it
of
in.
like the kids on tour on their hats, like, 100
Yeah,
shows pin or whatever.
love it.
You have like your 100 meditation pin. Plus
Yeah.
it helps brand and get it out there. Other people see that. It inspires energetically because then, you're maybe not thinking about your meditation all the time that you go through, but if you're out there wearing your badge, that I think is contagious
Yeah.
in a subtle way.
Yeah.
Every 90 days that you did it without failure, you got a pin. And so after you get a gong, and then you get, I can't remember what the second one was called, but you get a full qi gong after you got 3 pins. And so there's healing involved in the different levels and stuff. So kind of interesting to look at it that way, because it's very hard to go 30 days non-interrupted with the way our life cycles are going. But you can change it. That was the idea, having to choose the grid at another time. If I can't be there right then, if I'm driving or I'm in a meeting, I can just wait until I'm done and then click in and go into it. So that way you're not missing that meditation every day.
In fact,
So
actually, on that note, I think we've already made the decision, but I'd like to just maybe ask it again. So right now, the grid broadcasts 2 times a day, at 11:11 a.m. Central European Time and 11:11 p.m. Central European Time, which is great if you're based over here. But if you're in Australia, if you're in India or in the USA, it's going to create a time that may not work for you. So what we're going to do is bring it back to local time zones so that if it is 11:11 in the US, that's when it goes live. Or if it's 11:11 here, that's when it goes live. And we have basically worked out a way now to actually keep the energy in it so that if there is, in fact, actually, this is from Neil and his conversation with a friend of his last week, which is why these calls are just fantastic. So let's just say we have 1,000 people basically come online here at 11:11 a.m. We keep those 1,000 into the next one, and we build and we build and we build until there's a wave of energy traveling around planet Earth. And okay, we're gonna lose out on the big number for the one global broadcast, but that's fine because we have plenty of time to perfect this. We have plenty of time to basically make it right. So do people agree with going back to the local time zone support?
I think that's good.
Yeah,
And
I mean, I'm
the
a little
wave
confused.
You're confused.
Well, on the timing and getting
Yeah.
on there in there,
Yeah.
but yes, I didn't mean to cut you off, Jeff. But I mean, I do think there's a metaphysical function of this wave thing that we just need to like solidify something and stick with it so it can cycle through and start to build upon itself, whatever it is decide. Maybe the details aren't the most important to which one's better, but the function of sticking with it and stacking that energy since we're making that wave.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I know, there's some, however we can do that. I think that's the most important thing. How we do it may not be as important as actually doing it and what are the way to keep that container flowing and like stacking that energy so that wave is substantial and real, you know, hyperdimensionally and everything and established, kind of like we're talking on the Maharishi uh, data, just to make it like functional, rather than just get everybody on here and meditating and then let it kind of disperse. How are we going to hold that container like shamanically so it's built upon and it's continuing?
That's
Because the
what
idea
the
is,
Heart Amplification Center is for. It's
yeah,
actually build it inside yourself and
that
to
it's filling our cup though always like it. So I like the idea that you get the numbers on whatever that time goes, and I do think the maybe because we're using the numbers and it's an 11:11, I guess I would probably vote for your local time 11:11. It's easier than doing a translation all the time because automatically when I have to convert time, I do get a little glitch. Not that it's a problem, but there's a hesitation where you have to stop and think. And this is supposed to be not stopping and thinking, where if you just know 11:11 and you hit those magic numbers, that may be easier. But I do like the option if you can tone in at any time and feed that database, even if it's not 11:11.
yes.
Maybe the numbers aren't recorded in the same way, but it's like, hey, you can't make your 11:11, add to the grid at whatever time you want, and we'll just put like another colored dot, so, or however that is. But I think that's all functional stuff of making this grow and
I wonder. Uh, I just say this. I wonder if, gosh, I don't know how to implement this, but I wonder if to get around that, intending it to be 11:11, so getting across to people, it may not actually be 11:11 in your time, but in the spirit of 11:11, it kind of goes into that same field, even if it's later on, because obviously there is no time, but the intention carries.
So why couldn't we keep our alerts for the 11:11, but still have the option to join anytime we need it?
Absolutely, yeah. That is something that we did have at the start. In fact, actually,
Yeah,
we did actually start this with 11:11 in your
exactly.
local time zone, and then we also
Right.
had the way for you to join it at any time as well. But I guess in the spirit of trying to amplify or trying to condense the energy, but
Right. But
yeah,
as we
go back.
expand, though, when we talked about the time zones, what was happening in the Qigong was 7 o'clock every night in your time zone, and they were going global, and they had millions of people doing it. And I think that's our potential, is that as the grid grows and it goes into the different languages and the different time zones and stuff like that, it's going to be way more powerful as it's creating that wave across the grid.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Maria. She's just saying goodbye. Thank you for your time.
Oh, thank
See
you.
you in
Maria.
France.
Thank you, everybody. See you next week.
See you next week. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, TJ, as well.
Me too. Got to get to my
Yeah.
kiddos. Love you guys. Thanks for everybody
So much.
contributing to
Cheers.
this great project.
Thank
Nice
you.
to meet you. There's new
Call,
faces.
call me when you're free today, TJ.
Yep, I will. I'm planning on it. Yep.
Okay.
Okay,
Big drum
so
circle Saturday with the cozy.
so then I suppose looking ahead, and I know we only have a few minutes left, so looking ahead out over the next few weeks, and we will talk again next week, but we complete the current release, we get the group feature out there on Friday, and then we put our efforts into the 30 days, 30 voices, one heart, which is going to be basically two parts. One is going to be from a software development. In fact, there's going to be three parts, maybe four parts. Software development first, make sure we can actually do it, which we can. It's just time and energy to do it. Second is to actually get people like Gail, Neil, Jeff, TJ, Maria, everybody who is just on this call. You can all add something significant to the meditations. I know you can, and it would be wonderful to have your voice in there, and then basically go and tell your friends and ask them if they would like to do it as well. And then the ultimate objective is to say, if you're a grandmother in Guatemala and you have something you want to say, why not record a meditation for the grid? Because this is basically one voice for us all. So that's what we're going to focus our energy on. So if you want to add to the grid, you have until the 15th of August of 2026 to submit your recorded meditation. And then that gives us 2 weeks to basically do everything that needs to be done that Jeff and Tor will be able to do. Something about sound. And if you can help us, we're looking for anybody who can help: musicians, developers, testers, designers, translators, corporate introductions. If you can help us grow by subscribing, to like the videos, go on Instagram. I hate asking you to go on Instagram. I hate Instagram, but it's a great way to spread the message. So if there's any other questions, be delighted to answer them now, or we'll say goodbye till next week.
All good.
All good?
Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you so much. This is the 4th grid meeting. So thank you all. And Gail, great to see you on the call today. And Tor, thanks for coming as well.
So lovely to be here. Nice to meet everybody.
Thanks, guys. Ciao.
Glad to meet everyone. Have a great day.
Good luck.
Bye. Bye.